Level 1, the casual player. You're at a bar on a Friday night, and someone mentions the poker game running in the back. You've never been the type, but tonight you're bored. You sit down with $50, money you won't miss. The cards feel unfamiliar in your hands. The smell of stale beer and old money hanging in the air. You lose $30 in the first hour. You feel it. That hot flush of embarrassment. That sting of watching your money evaporate into someone else's stack. But then you win a hand. Your heart accelerates. You're up 40. You decide to stay one more round. Just one more. You don't stay for one. You stay until 3 a.m., walking out with $120 in your pocket. That night, your brain does something you won't fully understand for years. It remembers not the 3 hours of grinding or the losses before the win. It remembers the exact sensation of winning, the involuntary smile, the way everyone looked at you for just that moment, the way your chest expanded. You tell yourself you won because you're naturally good at reading people. Your friends laugh. You got lucky, they say. But luck is a story you let yourself believe for the first time. You are not lucky. You are perceptive. You are different. You can see what others can't. The real danger isn't the gambling yet. It's the story you're starting to tell yourself. You'll come back next Friday. And the one after that. Level 2, the consistent winner. Now you're the guy everyone calls. You've turned 500 into 3,000 in 6 months. You've started a spreadsheet. You track wins, calculate odds, study hand rankings with the intensity of someone learning a language that might save their life. You read books by Phil Ivey and Daniel Negreif. You watch stream commentaries. This isn't gambling anymore. This is a skill. Your friends think it's luck. Let them think that. You know better. You're seeing patterns in probability that most people miss. You're reading the hesitation in how someone bets their flush draw. You're noticing that Steve always overbets when he's bluffing and checks when he's strong. You're building a mental database of tells, and every night you're getting sharper. But something is shifting in your life now. You're skipping your girlfriend's work party to play. You're calling in sick on a Tuesday because the game is good. Your coworkers start commenting on how tired you look. You brush it off. You're fine. You're just focused. This is what excellence requires. The money is different too. When you win $1,000, it's not $1,000 anymore. It's 20 big blinds. It's half of one really good night. Your mind has already stopped translating poker into real life. $100 that used to mean something, a dinner, a tank of gas, now means nothing. It's barely a stake. You need the bigger games now. The games where the real money sits. You're starting to spend more than you win some months, but you don't think about those months. You think about the months where you're up 3,000. You think about what you'll do when you're consistently at that level. You think about the penthouse views of professional gamblers you've read about. You've forgotten that you once thought about a future that didn't involve cards. Level 3, the professional. This is the moment where your entire identity pivots. You tell your boss you're leaving. It's surreal saying it out loud. I'm going to play poker professionally. But the word professional makes it sound legitimate, real. It gives you permission. Your first month has a roughly $60,000 bankroll scraped together from your savings, a loan from your parents you told them was for something else, and money borrowed from another player at interest. You are no longer a hobbyist. You are now someone whose survival depends on being better than everyone at the table. You are now someone with something to lose. The pressure transforms everything. A $5,000 downswing used to feel like a setback. Now it's a crisis. It's gas money and rent money and the creeping understanding that you have no safety net. You start playing longer hours, 12, 14 hours some days. The casino becomes your office, then your entire world. You eat there. You shower at the gym nearby. You see daylight maybe twice a week. Your body starts changing. Not obviously, but you notice. Your shoulders are tighter. You have 2 stress-induced ulcers. You're drinking more coffee, then switching to energy drinks, then adding vodka sodas during your sessions because you've read that some pros play while drunk. Keeps you looser, less predictable. The psychological shift is subtle but total. You're not thinking about money as money anymore. You're thinking about it as tournament chips, as abstractions of risk. But here's what your brain is really doing. It's developed a tolerance for stress that would have shattered you 2 years ago. You can lose $10,000 and 15 minutes later, you're joking with the table. Your dopamine system has been completely rewired. Regular life feels empty now. A normal conversation is boring. Your friends' problems seem small. Nothing matters except the game. And you're winning. Some months you're up 15, 20,000. Those months feel like the entire purpose of existence. You are the smartest person at the table. You are the one reading others while they can't read you. You are the protagonist and everyone else is an extra. You've stopped noticing that nobody checks on you anymore. Your family feels distant. Your last relationship ended 4 months ago, and you barely remember her name anymore. Level 4, the elite. You're invited to higher games now. Games in private clubs where 6 figures sit at a single table. You're no longer the best player in the room, but you're close. You're good enough to survive. You're good enough to win consistently. And you're surrounded by other people like you. Sharp, ruthless, utterly dedicated to the grind. But something you don't see yet is happening underneath. You've crossed a line where winning is no longer about proving you're good. It's about proving you exist. Every downswing feels like erasure. Every losing session is a referendum on your worth. A bad week isn't just bad math. It's a personal failure that echoes through your chest for days. You've developed a specific kind of narcissism that's common among professional gamblers. You genuinely believe you're smarter than most people because, statistically, you've proven it at the card table. But poker is a narrow intelligence. It's probability, psychology, and patience. It's not wisdom. You don't know this distinction yet. Your bankroll is now 6 figures. You've paid off your loan. You've told yourself you're not dependent on gambling, you could quit anytime. But you don't quit. The thought of quitting actually creates panic. Quitting means you're not special anymore. Quitting means you're just like everyone else. Quitting means going back to a world where your intelligence doesn't guarantee your survival. You start playing higher stakes because the money at this level isn't enough to feel real anymore. A $5,000 win barely registers. You need the $20,000 nights to feel the same rush you used to get from $200. Your tolerance has increased. You need a bigger hit. You're aware now that you've become someone who makes people uncomfortable. Your confidence reads as arrogance. Your focus reads as obsession. But you don't care what you read as because the people who matter, the people at the tables, they respect you. And respect, you've learned, is currency. Maybe the most important currency. Level 5, the veteran. You're 5 years in now. You've made over $500,000. You've also lost nearly $500,000. Sometimes in single weeks. But here's what your mind has learned to do. It's learned to hold 2 contradictory beliefs simultaneously with perfect ease. You're winning overall. The losses are just variance. They're mathematical inevitabilities in a game of skill and chance. Except you're starting to understand, in a part of yourself you won't fully acknowledge, that you might be lying. You might be lying very well. You've lost 3 relationships completely. You have no close friends anymore, just other gamblers who understand the lifestyle. Your parents stopped asking about your life. Your sister stopped returning your calls. You exist in a bubble of people who share your specific pathology. You all tell each other the same story. That you're smarter than everyone else, that you're the exception, that normal rules don't apply to you. But something is cracking. You've started having panic attacks in your apartment. Not about money specifically, but about existence. Who are you if you're not sitting at a table? What happens if your edge disappears? You're 31 now, and you realize with a sick clarity that you have no other skills. You've been unemployable for 5 years. You have no resume. You have no life outside these cards. You've also started making riskier plays. You're not the tightest, sharpest player anymore. You're the one who's aggressive in ways that aren't quite profitable. You're the one who's chasing losses sometimes. You rationalize it as adjusting to the table dynamic, but you know the truth. Your judgment is deteriorating. The stress is showing in your play. The money is still coming in, but it's not enough. No amount is ever enough. You've moved to a better apartment, bought a car you don't need, wear clothes you don't notice. The material trappings of success feel hollow. What you actually need is the sensation of being at the table. That's the drug. The money was just the delivery mechanism. You're also becoming paranoid. You're convinced certain players are colluding against you. You're sure the casino is subtly disadvantaging you. You're seeing patterns that might not exist. You're losing your ability to distinguish between insight and obsession. The two have merged into one. Level 6, the shadow. You've been in this world for 8 years now. You've made and lost nearly $1 million. Your bankroll has been decimated twice by bad runs, and you've clawed your way back both times, which has only reinforced your delusional belief that you can survive anything. Your apartment is immaculate but sterile. You own nothing that brings you joy. You can't remember the last time you laughed. You don't look like a professional gambler. You look like someone who's been slowly erased. Your face is thinner. Your eyes have developed a specific quality. They're always looking for angles, always assessing, always calculating. You've developed a tic where you tap your fingers on any table, as if shuffling invisible cards. People notice. They move away from you on buses. Your last real human connection was 2 years ago. You had a conversation with a cashier about nothing, and afterward you felt a profound sadness because you realized you no longer knew how to interact with people in a way that wasn't transactional. Everything is a transaction. Every interaction is a negotiation of advantage. You've completely lost the ability to just be with someone. The games have become darker too. You're playing in poker rooms that exist in a legal gray area. You're playing with money connected to things you don't ask about. You're playing with people who occasionally disappear and never come back. You tell yourself this is what it takes at this level, that everyone serious is playing here. But you also know, in a part of yourself that's becoming smaller and quieter, that you've compromised something essential. You've rationalized every moral compromise. The money borrowed from the player you never repaid, that was just business. The friend you ghosted because he was losing and you were winning and it felt weird, that was necessary distance. The lies to your family, the theft of your own future, the slow death of your capacity to feel anything other than anxiety and the specific neurochemical high of winning. You've explained all of it away. But at 4 a.m., sitting alone in your apartment with $400,000 in a poker app and 0 people to call, you feel something you haven't let yourself feel in years. You feel the full weight of what you've done to yourself. You're still winning. You're still at the tables. You're still the guy everyone respects. But you're also completely alone in a way that money will never fix. The irony is devastating. You became a professional gambler to win. You've won. And now you understand that winning at poker is one of the easiest things you could do to yourself, and losing at life is one of the easiest ways to do it. You shuffle cards in your apartment and look at your reflection in the window and don't recognize the person looking back. The trajectory of a professional gambler is the trajectory of a person being consumed by their own neurotransmitter system. It begins innocently enough. A few hands of cards, a simple dopamine hit, but it evolves into something far more psychologically destructive than most people understand. The fundamental mechanism at work is the same one that makes all addictions powerful: variable ratio reinforcement. Poker is not a guaranteed reward. You don't win every hand. You don't even win most hands. But you never know when you'll win, which makes your brain assign extraordinary value to the activity itself. This uncertainty creates a psychological pull that far exceeds what a guaranteed reward ever could. This is why slot machines are so addictive. This is why poker, despite being a game of skill, becomes psychologically indistinguishable from gambling. As you progress through the levels, something more insidious happens. Identity fusion. You don't just play poker anymore. You are a poker player. Your entire sense of self becomes anchored to your edge at the table. This means every downswing becomes a threat to your fundamental identity. Every loss is not just financial, it's existential. This creates a psychological state of near-constant low-level crisis, which your body interprets as the need to return to the game. The only way to restore your sense of self is to win. So you play longer, you play higher, you play riskier. The isolation that develops is particularly devastating because it's self-reinforcing. As you become a more serious player, you naturally separate from people who don't understand the lifestyle. This is logical, but it also means you lose access to reality checks. You surround yourself exclusively with people who reinforce your worldview and your rationalizations. Everyone at your poker table believes they're exceptional. Everyone at your poker table believes normal rules don't apply. This creates a powerful bubble of delusion that becomes very difficult to penetrate. The moral injury, the slow erosion of your ethical framework, happens gradually and almost imperceptibly. You tell yourself you're just playing a game, but playing a game that slowly destroys your relationships, that turns your mind into a calculation engine, that replaces genuine human connection with transactional thinking. That's not just a game. That's a slow form of psychological self-harm. What makes this particular forbidden life so psychologically devastating is that it's often profitable. This is what breaks most people. If you went to a casino and lost money, it would be clear that something was wrong. But if you're actually winning, if you're actually making money from this, then there's no external feedback telling you that your life is falling apart. You can rationalize everything because the money proves you're right. The money becomes evidence that you're special, which allows you to ignore all evidence that you're lonely, paranoid, morally compromised, and slowly disappearing. The real cost of this life is that you become someone who can't quit even if you want to. Your identity is poker. Your survival is poker. Your entire sense of meaning comes from being a professional gambler. So even when you realize that the lifestyle is destroying you, which almost all professionals do eventually, you can't leave because leaving means admitting that you wasted 5, 10, or 20 years becoming someone you despise. The sunk cost is not just financial. It's existential. The tragedy is that a professional gambler is often genuinely intelligent, genuinely disciplined, and genuinely capable of excellence. These qualities could be applied to building something, creating something, connecting with people. But instead, they're channeled into the narrow pursuit of winning at cards, which is psychologically hollowing. You can win $1 million and still feel like you're losing. The human cost of this life is the slow, almost invisible disappearance of yourself into the game. You trade your relationships, your mental health, your capacity for joy, and your sense of meaning for the neurochemical high of victory and the constant threat of its absence. You become a player, which means you stop being a person. And that's a price no amount of money can ever be worth.